right now with us, we have the PRO of the Inland Revenue Department, Miss Chanel Andrews. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Daybreak.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, how are you doing this morning?
I'm fine.
You normally wake up this early?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, great.
Okay. Well, it's Taxpayers Awareness Month.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well, we, at the Inland Revenue Division, we chose the month of March to declare the observance of Taxpayers Awareness to show that we're not only focusing on collecting the revenue, the taxes from taxpayers, but we're also taking a time off to educate and also meet the needs of our taxpayers. This year, our team focused on quality service, delivering quality service, and it's all enabled to achieve greater compliance. Now, to close off the month, today we're having the last activity for the month, which is a expo at the Ministry of Finance Quadrangle. At this expo, we invited other stakeholders such as the financial institutions, Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and other statutory bodies, as well as government offices, including our sister division, which is the Customs and Excise Division, and each booth would be displaying what their agency organization works on. With regards to the financial institutions, persons who may be in tax arrears or they may be wanting to set up a new business, they can speak to any of the financial institutions that would be present to get a loan or find out how you can go about setting up your business and getting financial aid.
Oh, okay, great. So this is part of the educational side of it
Yes,
as well?
And also meeting taxpayers' need today is one of our major deadlines. As you know, we normally have long lines, and as we speak, the office would be open at 7 this morning. That's the cash office to make payments, and it would close at 4 p.m. We have extended operating hours today and Monday to facilitate the payment of taxes and licenses as well.
That's great stuff. Yeah. Have you ever been through those lines?
Yeah, I've been in one of those lines.
And it's very long,
outside
right?
the building.
Yeah. I'm sure people will be happy for the extra
I'm glad
hours.
the extra hours. Yeah. Now, the expo, that's something that's open to the general public. Anybody can go down.
Yes, it's open to the general public and taxpayers. Persons coming to pay bills at the lines, they can pass down to the expo. Anybody on their lunch hour or anybody that chooses to pass in, they are free to come in. At the security points, you wouldn't have to sign in to come through the quadrangle for today. That have been waived, so persons can just walk in and visit any of the tents. And that would all begin at 9 p.m. this morning, and hopefully it close off around 4 in the evening.
Okay.
All right, great stuff.
All right, so 9 to 4.
Actually, I was just going to ask you something and it just slipped my mind. Is this the first time you're having this type of event, the expo?
Okay, normally we have a small open house at the end of the month of activities. Or, for instance, Property Tax had a caravan last year where they went around the island. But this year we opened it a little more to stakeholders as well, so they can come on board with us. It's all in effort of collaborating with the relevant agency to make doing business with Inland Revenue much easier.
Just ask a quick question. How has the economy affected tax collection and so on?
Well, we all know we are going through some challenging financial times right now. And I think everyone is affected, to be honest, in some way or the other. Now, we are also aware that there are a lot of persons who may not be able to meet their tax obligations. Hence, at the expo today, we would also be promoting our payment plan options. And second reason why we also invited the financial institutions, because truth and in fact, the interest and penalties on the outstanding tax you may have in arrears is much higher than the interest you would get on a loan, because every month interest keeps adding on to that outstanding balance you have. And there are persons that are in arrears and may need to settle. They may tell themselves, well, I can't pay, so I ain't bother coming into the department, but we urge persons to come in, speak to any of our tax enforcement officers or collection officers, and they can arrange a payment plan to meet your needs.
Okay, great.
Okay, yeah, that's useful.
And property tax, for instance, has a 5% rebate once you pay early. So I always urge persons, 5% may sound like a little bit, but it can go a long way sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you said that it's been a whole month of awareness. Have there been any other activities prior to now?
Yes, we started off on the 1st of March. We opened the month officially with an official ceremony. Then we had, our staff attended a church service at the cathedral the Sunday following that. We had income tax seminars for employees within various companies, and that we have got a lot of responses from companies and from their employees as well. We assisted them in completing their tax returns because some persons complain the forms are very complicated, they don't know what to do, and they did appreciate that effort. We had some activities in Carriacou as well, including that income tax seminar as well for employees up there who are meeting the income tax threshold. And to close it off now, we would be having the Tax Expo. Now, I don't want persons to think it's just 1 month of activities. Our education awareness programs would continue throughout the year. We have to launch our Taxpayers Charter later down in the year, and we would have a window space for public consultations as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, good. Actually, I was going to ask what she just answered.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, most people see taxes as this big, terrible thing, and it's just, a cost. But, I mean, taxes are a useful thing, a necessary evil, I suppose. Tell us a little bit about what taxes are really used for and why it's important that people,
Okay, first of all, we would all admit nobody wants to pay tax, and I say that straightforward because I'm sure if we can live in a country where we don't have tax, we would want to go there. But we have a responsibility for our nation. Taxes were there since in the Bible days, and I'm certain that we may go and still have taxes there. Now, the money used from taxes, that's their main source for government to raise revenue. They cannot have shows, they cannot beg for donations like any other organization. That's their main revenue generating source. And the money used goes back to our health facilities, the roads, different infrastructure, etc. But at the same time, at the inland revenue, our responsibility is for collecting the revenue, and the policymakers determine where the money is actually spent, but we all know it goes back into the economy to help build the nation.
Okay, so you guys are really only involved on one side of
One
the process.
side of the process, yes.
Okay.
In terms of taxes and types of taxes and so on, how has it been in terms of the revenue that you collect since VAT has been implemented?
Well, I must say VAT has been progressing very well. We were able to meet all our targets since implementation, and sometimes we surpass the target by far, sometimes doubling it, etc. Sometimes we just above the target or just on the target. And of course, that would reflect based on the economy. And, we do have seasonal spending as well. There are certain times when people just tend to spend more than other times. But I must say, from an administrative point, the VAT has been going very well. Well, we had recent amendments to the Act, etc. And on our end, our team is working very well in ensuring that the tax is administered properly. And also not just collecting, but also assisting businesses. On the compliance end, we have been getting very high compliance with VAT. We always boast of compliance in the late 80s, early 90s, and we were able to sustain that throughout from implementation to today.
Okay. The other taxes where the compliance is a lot worse?
Yes, there are tax types where compliance is very low, and now that VAT has settled in, we are focusing on the other tax types. That's why this year we choose to go on to the income tax. Although income tax has the lowest threshold, then we have property tax. We're trying to make persons more aware that if you pay early, you get a 5%. So we have a lot of other education work to do on the other tax types.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I suppose I'm thinking of like the processes involved in taxing and so on. Is income tax really the main focus after VAT? Is that just right now?
We're just seasonal because today is the deadline for most employees to submit their income tax returns. We try to focus on that tax type, getting persons to file for the due date, because if you file after, there's a penalty, and we don't want persons to go into arrears. Now, following income tax, we have the property tax as well. Coming up on June 30th is the last day for the 5% rebate for your current year tax, and then you have 60 days grace period before interest and penalties. So we would move our focus a little to property tax, and we normally do that based on the tax type and the deadline. So for the month of March is mostly income tax and annual stamp tax. Persons willing to take advantage of the 5% rebate on property tax, they can start from now until June 30th as well.
Okay, so yeah, asking people to come down to your event starting 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. today, and of course financial institutions are going to be there to help people stay out of going into arrears and accumulating that interest and all that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us again, just run through the event.
Well, it's the day at the Ministry of Finance Quadrangle. It begins at 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. this evening. We're going to have on the Inland Revenue end, we're going to have business registration information, payment plans for persons who may be in arrears, also general information from the Inland Revenue end. Customs would be there with the Assecutor World. You know, it's a new program they have. We're going to have Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce, who would also focus on business, on the business side.
I have the list here. It's Customs and Excise
and
Division.
other financial institutions, basically, yes. So
Yeah.
any information you want, basically, you would be able to get it today.
You want me to actually call them out? So
I don't
just in
think your
case-
list has all, because
Oh,
we
okay.
have gotten some new ones, but in addition to your list, maybe you can call your list and I'll
Well,
tell you the new
what
ones.
we have here is Customs and Excise Division, Grenada Industrial Corporation, Grenada Chamber of Industries and Commerce, Grenada Public Service Credit Union, and Communal Cooperative Credit Union.
All right. We also have Grenada Cooperative Bank, Republic Bank as well, the National Insurance Scheme, and there may be other institutions as well.
Right. People may have specific questions for each of these institutions and
Yes,
so on.
and it
so.
never hurts to come and see what information you can get. Information is always useful.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, thank you very, very much for coming in, and we appreciate that you're trying to go out there and spread the word a little bit, educate people on taxes and making processes more simple for everybody. So
Thank you.
thank
for
you
joining
very
us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Yes, folks, we were just talking taxes with the PRO of the Inland Revenue Department, Chanel Andrews.